As I delved deeper, I started noticing peculiar details that only fueled my growing sense of unease. Doors would creak open by themselves, the faint whisper in the dead of night making me jump. I'd catch glimpses of something moving out of the corner of my eye, and my cat, once playful and affectionate, now hid under the bed, its eyes wide, fixated on what seemed like thin air. The air was thick with an eerie silence, and I felt a persistent gaze on me, but every time I turned around, there was no one there. Each room seemed to hold a heavy breath, waiting to exhale as soon as I entered. The lights would flicker without reason, and the temperature would drop sharply, chilling me to the bone. It felt as though the house itself was alive, each creak and groan a communication from an unseen entity. I tried to convince myself it was all in my head, a byproduct of stress or a lack of sleep. But then, things escalated further, danced in the periphery of my vision, not just fleeting but lingering, watching. My phone would ring at odd hours of the night, and when I answered, the line hummed with a static silence that seemed to whisper secrets in languages lost to time. On one such night, overcome by a sense of dread, I answered the phone to hear a faint, almost inaudible voice utter my name before the line went dead. My nerves frayed, I scoured the house, searching for any rational explanation. Old pipes, faulty electrical wiring, anything. But the findings were inconclusive. The whispers, the chill, the shadows remained unexplained. Desperate for answers, I started researching the history of my home, hoping to find something, anything that might explain what was happening. As I pieced together the jumbled history, the occurrences grew more frequent, more intense, as if stirred by my probing. I tried to shake off the feeling, telling myself it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. But the sense of unease only stronger. I started noticing strange noises at night, like footsteps creaking up the stairs, even though I knew I was alone in the house. And then, there were the strange phone calls. No one would be on the other end, just silence. The hidden camera was just the tip of the iceberg. As I dug deeper, I discovered more cameras, each one revealing a piece of the puzzle. Someone had been manipulating my home, my belongings, and even my cat's behavior. The violation was personal, and I was consumed by a sense of dread that seeped into every pore of my being. My days began to revolve around the pursuit of clues. Every corner of my house seemed to whisper secrets. Each drawer I opened echoed with the silent laughter of the intruder. Mornings were spent reviewing footage, afternoons dedicated to decoding the odd placement and angles of the cameras. The cameras, sophisticated and discreet, were hidden in places I'd never suspect. Behind the frame of portrait, inside the hollow of a book on the shelf, even nestled within the leaves of the potted plant in the living room. I tried to map out the timeline of when each camera must have been installed. It seemed the intruder knew my routine better than I did myself. They had avoided detection with almost supernatural skill. The more I discovered, the more paranoid I became. My own home felt like a stranger, every creak whisper a potential threat. My evenings were no better. I'd sit down trying to piece together the fragments of my violated privacy, but the fear made it hard to focus. The shadows seemed to move, stirred by the faintest breeze of menace, and every light I turned on just cast longer, darker shadows. I enlisted the help of a friend who was more versed in technology. Together, we tried to enhance the video quality, hoping to catch a glimpse of the perpetrator or at least some identifying feature. But it was as if the intruder knew we were getting closer. Each forward was countered by a new obstacle: corrupted files, mysteriously erased data, cameras suddenly going dark. One night I thought I saw a shadow flit across the camera's feed, too quick to be natural. My heart pounded as I replayed the segment, frame by frame, but there was nothing. No proof, just the lingering chill of having seen something, or perhaps the chilling realization that I was being watched at very moment. Doubt began to cloud my mind. Was I imagining things? Was the stress causing me to see danger where there was none? These questions haunted me, gnawing at the edges of my sanity. I became jittery, jumping at the slightest sound, seeing malice in every corner of my now alien home. The strain began to show. Friends remarked on my haggard appearance, the constant edge in my voice, but I couldn't stop. Not until I had answers. Not until I reclaimed the sanctity of my home. I set traps, installed new security measures to regain control. But the intruder was always one step ahead. The cameras would move, the footage would disappear, and I was left with more questions than answers. No matter what I did, the sense of being watched never left. It was like an itch I couldn't scratch. A presence just out of sight. It was like being trapped in a never-ending cycle of fear and paranoia. And then, the most chilling discovery, a small hidden room in my own home, filled with monitors displaying every room, including my bedroom and bathroom. The recordings dated back to before I even moved in, and I felt like I was living in a horror movie with the intruder as the director and I as the main character. Upon entering the dimly lit room, my eyes quickly adjusted to the glow of the screens. Each monitor flickered with life, showcasing different angles of the very house I had come to call home. The realization that someone had been watching me, monitoring my every move, was overwhelming. As I stood there, frozen by the eerie sight, the air around me felt colder, denser. The walls, previously unnoticed in their blandness, now seemed to close in, whispering secrets of the countless hours of surveillance they had witnessed. I turned to the largest screen, which displayed room, captured just moments ago. The couch where I had sat reading earlier seemed sinister, a silent accomplice to my unwelcome observer. My heart pounded as I moved closer to the desk cluttered with various recording devices and stacks of DVDs labeled meticulously by date. The meticulousness of it all was horrifying. Nothing was left to chance. This hidden orchestrator had not only invaded my privacy, but had cataloged it as if it were a precious collection. Fighting the urge to flee, I instead began sifting through the DVDs, each disc a potential key to uncovering the identity of the voyeur. The cryptic message scrawled on the wall, "You'll never be alone," echoed in my mind, its meaning more sinister with each passing second. Who would go to such lengths? Why was I chosen? The mystery deepened with every new layer uncovered. Compelled by a mix of fear and determination, I turned my attention to a small, dusty notebook beneath a stack of recording schedules. The handwriting was cramped, almost indecipherable, yet it bore the unmistakable mark of obsession. Pages were filled with times, dates, and disturbingly detailed observations about my daily routines. As I flipped through the pages, a photograph fell out. It was a picture of me, taken from a distance, unaware and seemingly at peace. The sight of it made my skin crawl. With each piece of evidence, the walls of my supposed sanctuary felt more like the bars of a cage. The invasion had been not just of my home, of my peace of mind. These monitors, these recordings, they had seen it all. My most private moments, my vulnerabilities, they had been laid bare for this unseen spectator's viewing pleasure. I knew then that this wasn't just about surveillance, it was about control. The control over knowing when I would sleep, eat, or shower. And with this realization, the urgency to find answers, to reclaim my life, grew. I needed to understand the extent of this invasion, to uncover the face behind the camera. Was it someone I knew, a neighbor, a stranger, or someone closer to me than I could ever have feared? As I delved deeper into the investigation within my own walls, I installed new locks, invested in surveillance of my own, and reached out to experts who could possibly trace any digital footprints left behind by my watcher. The local police were baffled, promised to do everything in their power to assist. Friends became my lifeline, staying over on nights when the shadows seemed too thick, too intent on swallowing me whole. Yet with each security measure, each supportive friend, the weight of isolation grew heavier. I was trapped in a paradox of seeking solitude from my observer, while simultaneously fearing the loneliness it brought. The more I searched for answers, the more I realized I was in a race against time. Subscribe to my channel for more updates on this chilling story. I'll be sharing more evidence and clues as I uncover them. Together, we can try to unravel the mystery and bring the perpetrator to justice. Don't miss out on the next installment. Subscribe now.